Analysis. DNA is a molecule. It resembles a ladder that has been twisted into a helix shape, and the rungs on the ladder are used to encode information to rebuild living things. DNA is present in our cells and is used to encode the proteins that build our bodies. Rabbits and plants also have DNA in their cells, which works in the same way as our DNA. All living things on Earth have DNA inside them. DNA is the code that they use to rebuild their bodies. Whether it's bacteria, plants, fungus, snails, cats, dogs, you name it, they have DNA as a coding. Let's take a closer look at DNA. This is a simplified representation of what DNA would look like. It's two ribbons with connections between them, and if you untwisted it, it would look like a ladder. This model is red, blue and green for explanatory purposes, so let me explain now. The green part of the rungs on the ladder are the bases that carry the information to the encoding. The blue and red part of the ladder is the structure that holds it together, and it holds the rungs into place. The two sides of the ladder are made of deoxyribose, which is a simple type of sugar. If you look closely at the rungs of the ladder, they're actually ring shaped, and they're made of 4 different chemicals that are paired together, and they're the bases, and they're the bits that are read by the protein machine that rides along the DNA like a zip. And the key is that it can tell them apart, and then it builds a recipe. It reads 3 of them at a time, I believe. Let's take a closer look at the side of the ladder, the deoxyribose part. These are the individual atoms that make up the strand, the 2 strands. I deliberately removed the hydrogen atoms from this diagram because they actually belong to the rungs, and it's actually the carbon atoms that come between the rungs, the carbon and the bonds in the rungs, and that's how they're attached to the ribbons. The reason we're called carbon-based life forms is because many of the molecules that are present in our body contain a lot of carbon, and the carbon allows complicated structures to be made. The reason it allows complicated structures to be made is because it can have up to 4 bonds with other elements, and this ability to form 4 bonds allows shapes to be made and structures. And here you can see there's a ring present, lots of rings, and they're made of carbon, 4 carbon atoms with 1 oxygen at the top. And there's bonds left over from these connections, and these bonds hold the rungs of the ladder to the ribose, and that's how it's all connected together. So carbon's like the glue that holds most of our molecules together. Let's have a look at these rungs now on the ladder. This is cytosine. It is always attached to a guanine molecule on the other side in pairs. Which way around depends on the code. This is guanine. It's usually attached to cytosine on the DNA strand, and depending on which way it's attached depends on the code as well. This is thymine. It always attaches to adenine on the DNA rung. This is adenine. It attaches to thymine on the rung, on the ladder rungs. This means each rung on the ladder can have one of 4 values: AT, TA, CG and GC. All 4 DNA bases have something in common. They all contain a ring of carbon atoms, with 2 of the carbon atoms replaced with 2 nitrogen atoms. This is benzene. It's one of the chemicals found in petrol. As you can see here, it's formed a ring shape, and this ability to form a ring shape is down to carbon, just like many of the molecules in our body. Carbon can make any shapes possible you can imagine. We owe carbon this ability for our lives and our existence. The protein machine that walks along the DNA and reads it is also made largely of carbon, and it's carbon that allows the complicated structure for it to function. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, I say goodbye.